Today I'd like to introduce you to my latest tactic upload, GINGA, an FM22 tactic with its roots in Brazil. Think Brazil, you think of football. South American flair, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo. No, not that one. That's better. Pele, Neymar, Rivaldo. The list, it goes on and on. These legends of our game all adopt the same distinctive style, approach, philosophy. This is GINGA. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another tactic video on the channel. Today, I'm going to keep myself on the screen to a bare minimum because as I record this, the UK is in the middle of a complete heat wave and it is about 400 degrees Celsius in this attic. So I'm going to move on very quickly. But before I do so, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And hopefully you enjoyed today's tactic. Go and use it in your saves. Let me know how you get on with it. Leave me those comments down below. And all I ask really is subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video. That'd be lovely. Let's get into how the GINGA tactic works. Let's get into it. So what is GINGA? GINGA is an almost indefinable mystical quality of movement and attitude possessed by Brazilians and evident in everything they do. The way they walk, talk, dance, and approach everything in their lives. The GINGA, literally meaning to rock back and forth or to swing, is the fundamental movement in the martial art of capoeira. Of course, this way of life has also influenced the country's most passionate pastime, football. GINGA is the dominant flavour of football in the country and focuses heavily on an attack-minded game. The style is so widely revered in Brazil that once Coach Dunga, who coached the 2010 World Cup team, was fired due to his defensive football overpowering the principles of attacking football embedded in GINGA. Loyalists of this particular FM parish may already be aware of my current Twitch save, Hertha Brazil, where I have transformed Hertha Berlin into an entirely Brazilian club with an entirely Brazilian side playing in the Bundesliga. Those same loyalists will also know of my difficulties in winning a Bundesliga title, where I've been finishing second and third pretty much every season. Every season until the most recent one, where I finally managed it, the Bundesliga title. How did we do it? Well, we did it by having my Brazilian lads adopt the approach of GINGA. The tactic itself is set up in a 4-1-3-2 shape or a 4-1-5. As you can see, it leans heavily on the attacking side of things. And if you go through each player, you've got a sweeper keeper on support in goal. You've got two inverted wing backs set to attack. And then in the centre of defence, you've got two ball-playing defenders who are set to defend. These are two of only three players who have a defensive mentality in the entire team. The third of the three is this lone central midfielder here, who is a deep line playmaker set to defend. These three do the majority of the defending, with the goalkeeper, of course, to back them up. The wing backs set to inverted wing backs find themselves rampaging forwards a la Roberto Carlos, a la Cafu, maybe a little bit more inverted than their predecessors, but still with plenty of attacking flair. In front of your lone central midfielder, you've got three players backing up the two strikers. To the flanks, you have two wingers set to support. This means they do plenty of running up and down this side and actually make runs with the ball. As you can see, they've been told to dribble more on both sides. They also run wide with the ball and get plenty of crosses into the box, where you find three players in there. The shadow striker, who runs a little bit more from deep, and then two pressing forwards, one on the right hand side, one on the left hand side, making sure that they are putting all of the pressure onto the defenders, even drifting wide a little bit from here too, especially the right hand side striker, who's been told to roam from position. The next thing to do, I suppose, is to go through each position or each role here and talk about what type of player you might want in each of these positions or each of these roles. We'll start with the goalkeeper, which is quite simplistic. I've recently bought Alisson for way too much money. Don't ask on how much money I spent on him, but really for the goalkeeper, you want a generally good goalkeeper. It's a sweeper keeper set to support here. So Alisson's great at this because he will go and do that sweeping. Also, really, you just want a generally all-round good goalkeeper. I like to look for a goalkeeper that has high reflexes, also one that isn't too eccentric, and maybe a goalkeeper that's nice and tall as well. An important part of this tactic is, of course, the inverted wing backs. I like to have very good attacking players here. Dodo's a great example of this. Really good at getting forward, lots of pace, very good at dribbling. He's got 15 dribbling. He will find himself in attacking positions fairly often, and you want him to be able to put the ball in the back of the net if it comes to that. But really getting himself into attacking positions is going to be a big part of his game. Dodo's great at this because he does have the gets forward whenever possible trait as well. He's been a really good signing for us and done really well. So maybe a player like him on the right hand side and then a player like him on the left hand side if it's possible. I've currently got Jolson, who is a young defender. He's actually right-footed, which works quite nicely from this left hand side as it is inverted. He's not quite as good going forward, but does have a lot of the attributes that I would be looking for this. The centre backs, I always like to have a left footer on the left hand side. So Gabriel is great at this. He's also a threat from set pieces, as I'm sure lots of you will already know. I do like to look for in a centre back. And then on the right hand side, I've got a youngster in Paulo Cesar, who is right-footed. Those are my main two things really. They are ball players, so you want them to be decent at passing. He's got 11 passing, 12 vision, but Gabriel's a good example of this too with his 13 passing, 13 vision. The higher on those two attributes, the better, but of course you want high defensive attributes too on these two players. The lone central midfielder in this tactic, the DLP set to defend, is obviously going to be an important one. I've got Bruno Guimaraes at the moment, and the reason that he is perfect for this is that he's just brilliantly well-rounded. He's almost got a circle for his attribute graph here, scatter graph. That's perfect because he's great on the ball, his passing's excellent, he's got great vision, he can spray the ball about, but also in terms of his defensive responsibilities, his positioning is excellent, his anticipation is excellent, and so is his tackling, which means he kind of does it both ways. He's got the defensive mindset that you want him to have, but also can get on the ball and make attacks happen, which is what you want from a DLP. So Bruno's a great example of the profile of player that is going to be useful in this particular tactic. Now, on to the attacking players, which, of course, as we know, this is GINGA. This is all about the attack, the attacking players. Let's go through the ones that I use in my system, and these have had some pretty good results so far. Let's look, first of all, at the wingers. I like to have a left-sided winger on the left-hand side and a right-sided winger on the right-hand side. That is because they are out-and-out wingers. I like them to get to the byline and whip crosses into the box. So let's use Welton Costin as the example on the left-hand side, who is a fantastic example, because if you set him here to a winger on support, you can see that he's got all of the physicals that you want. I want these wingers to be fast. I want them to be able to dribble with the ball. I want them to be attacking. I want them to be really quick, nimble players. Welton Costin, of course, is a great example of this. I've recently bought him for £77 million, and he's made an electric start, actually, to his career, as you can see by his stats there. He's fantastic at this. He's only got 10 crossing, which I suppose would be a downside, but the crossing attribute, does it work in FM anyway? I'm not quite sure. He gets forward whenever possible. He does get the ball into the box. He does get assists. As you can see, he's got 3 in his first 6 games. That's actually 10 in his first 9 games in all competitions. He's been a revelation, really. He's a great example of the type of winger that you want to bring in on these sides. I think prioritize pace, prioritize dribbling, prioritize players that are going to get on the ball and be quick and get to that byline. Onto the shadow striker, and I use Leo in this position, and once again it's because of his amazing physicals. He's so quick, 18 pace, 18 acceleration, 20 agility. Once he's on the ball, he's very difficult to get off the ball. He is a real threat. He's also got a really good first touch, so when he does make those late runs into the box as the shadow striker, he receives the ball and knows what to do with it. He does only have 11 finishing, but that's why he's the shadow striker and not an out-and-out striker, I suppose. I want a player here who's almost like a striker, like an attacking midfielder with lots of really good physicals is what I'd be looking for as your shadow striker. And then onto the strikers themselves. 2 pressing forwards is what I use. Gabriel Martinelli was brilliant last year in this system. He scored 25 league goals, 31 goals in all competitions. So he's a very good example of the type of striker that would be useful in this system. Again, it's all about the physicals. 17 acceleration, 16 pace, and trying to get in behind that defense. He's got the player trait of likes to try and beat the offside trap, which has seen him score so many goals for me. I've actually paired him this season with Vinicius Jr., who is very similar, actually. He likes to try and get in behind the defensive line. He's got all of those physicals. He's made a lightning start to his time at the club too. 7 goals in 6 games so far in the league. 9 in 9 all competitions. Pacey strikers is what you're looking for. You're looking for pacey players, really, across the pitch, except maybe this DLP who you want to be very well rounded. Those are the types of profile that I'd be looking for from the players. Let's go through the instructions very quickly before we go and look at some of the results that this tactic has managed to achieve. I run the tactic with an attacking mentality because we're all about the attack here. This is the Brazilian GINGA. It's all about the attack, of course. If we have a look at the team instructions then, I'll put them all up on the screen so you can go through them, but some of the important ones are the tempo is extremely high. We've also got running at defense. You see the players just kind of rampaging forward. It's really, really exciting, and that's pretty much it, really. We pass into space, we play fairly narrow, we use low crosses because actually they still tend to do mixed crosses, to be honest, with this one. And that's pretty much it for the in possession instructions. If we move to in transition, you can see we do run with a counter press and counter. We distribute distribute to the target forward, which just means they play it long towards those strikers because there's so many players forward. You get lots of knockdowns. Alisson, for example, has got assists this season because he pumps it long towards our strikers. We get a little knockdown because we've got so many players forward. We're in on goal and we're scoring goals just from there. We also do take long kicks, which maybe goes against the sort of principles of Brazilian football, but we get the ball forward really quickly and then we play our football. Those little 1-2s in and around the box, getting players in behind. You still see beautiful football, even though we do play with long kicks on here. Out of possession, the last ones to look at, we do play with an offside trap. We have a higher line of engagement, a standard defensive line. We are on get stuck in, so you may well get some yellow cards, and we do prevent the goalkeeper from short distribution. Those are the instructions. I think, make sure that I went through every player so that you could see their individual instructions. So I will go through them one more time before we continue, in case you're on Xbox and you need to just copy the tactic. There's the wingers. There's the shadow striker. There is the pressing forwards. You should be able to use this tactic now if you are on Xbox. Let's go and have a look at some of the good results that we've managed to achieve with this. So let's have a look at some of the results I've managed to achieve using the GINGA tactic. This is my current season in our Twitch save here to Brazil. And as you can see, we've got off to a good start to the season. Now, this isn't a big enough sample size. I'm well aware of that to prove whether or not this tactic works. But I just wanted to show you, the types of results that you can achieve. This season, we've beaten Borussia Dortmund 3-0 away from home. And we've made a good start to Bundesliga life. We're actually second at the moment, but we drew our first game. We've won all of the other ones. What I really want to do, though, is take us back to last season. Last season where, if we have a look at the Bundesliga title from last season, we managed to win our very first title. After so many years of finishing second and third and second and third and third, we finally managed to win it. We ended up on 81 points. We won 26 out of our 34 games, and delightfully, we had some fantastic results along the way as well. Just have a look at some of these results, by the way. A 7-1 win. Of course, that's the DFB Pokal first round. You always win that one by a lot of goals. But going through, if I just show you, we beat PSG 3-1 there. Look, we beat Schalke 5-2, 6-2 against Wolfsburg there. There's an 8-2 against Karabag, an 8-3 against Stuttgart in the league there. We won 6-0 against Bayer Leverkusen away from home there. We beat Leipzig 7-0 at home. And if I just go back to that Bundesliga table, they were the champions the year before we won. We managed to beat them 7-0, which just goes to show what this tactic can produce if everybody and everything is working as it should. We actually won 5-1, look, in the very next game after that 7-0 win away from home at Frankfurt as well there. We even, look, beat Bayern Munich towards the end of the season 3-1. And if you've ever played a Bundesliga save, you know how important that is. If I go back to that league table, though, what I wanted to show you in it was not only were we fantastic and winning the league, of course, but we ended up scoring 100 goals over the course of the season as well. 36 goals against us, a goal difference of 64, which, as you can see, is by far and away the best goal difference in the league. So not only were we winning the league title, we were doing it in style as well. Plenty of goals being scored by our players along the way, and we won it quite comprehensively in the end. 81 points to second place, 64 from FC Bayern. We ended up winning it pretty easily. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, does this tactic work in other contexts? Yes, it works in your save, but will it work in my save? And so I thought I'd try it in a slightly different context. I've tried it with the Brazilian national team, and as you can see, it does indeed work. We went and used a custom database to go and play the 2022 World Cup. I set the team up in the GINGA, as you can see, and quite historically, we won another World Cup with a 5-2 win against Argentina in the final, no less, which just looks glorious. Hulk, by the way, sensational in this tactic. Neymar got a hat-trick from the left wing, look. Vinicius Jr. on the right. We won the World Cup again. If I show you the results that we managed to achieve, it was a slow start to the World Cup. Draws against Serbia and Switzerland, but then we kind of caught fire once they got used to the tactic a little bit. 6-2, 6-2 against Portugal, 3-0 against Spain, 3-1 against England, and then a 5-2 win in the final against Argentina. The GINGA works in other contexts too. I really, really hope it works in your save. Go and have fun with it. Go and score a load of goals. I really hope you enjoy it. And that then, ladies and gentlemen, is the GINGA tactic. Let me know how you get on with it if you do use it. The links to everything are in the description. There's a direct download link. There's also a link to the Steam upload where you can just subscribe to the tactic and then you should be able to load it in your games. Let me know how you get on with it. If you win games, it's a super fun tactic. Very attacking, so it's a little bit bit risk versus reward. I really do hope you enjoy it though. I've had so much fun with it, and as I've said before, it managed to get us that success in the Bundesliga finally, so I will forever be in debt to this tactic. But thank you very much for watching today. If you've enjoyed the video, as I'm sure you must have done because you've got to the end of it here, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm sure there will be future tactic videos and lots of other content coming soon as well. But most of all, have a lovely rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.